Stranger under the streetlight. The rain had just stopped, but the streets of Queens still smelled of wet asphalt, cigarettes, and desperation. Midnight lingered heavy in the air, the kind of midnight where every shadow could be a secret, and every secret could be a sin. Miguel Alvarez tightened his jacket and kept walking. He had finished his late shift at the diner, 12 hours on his feet flipping burgers for strangers who barely looked him in the eye. His paycheck never stretched far enough, but he sent half of it back home to Mexico, where his mother still waited for medicine and his younger sister for tuition. As he crossed 42nd Avenue, he noticed her. A woman standing alone under the crooked streetlight. The bulb flickered, humming with that eerie electricity buzz. She wasn't moving, not even shifting her weight. Just standing. Her hair clung wet against her face, her dress torn at the hem, her arms bare against the cold. For a second, Miguel thought she was drunk, maybe high, just another lost soul in the city. But when the light steadied, he saw her eyes. They were wide, red-rimmed, and locked onto nothing, as if she were staring into a place only she could see. He slowed his pace. He knew better than to get involved, especially here, especially this late. He had papers, but they were thin. Trouble could undo him in seconds. But something about the way she stood, frozen like a statue carved out of fear, made him stop. "Señorita," he called softly, his accent heavy, his voice cautious. "You okay?" No answer. He took a step closer, the street light stretching his shadow until it touched her shoes. She flinched, finally turning toward him. Her face was pale, lips trembling. And then, in a voice so faint he almost didn't hear it, she whispered, "They're watching me." Miguel's stomach knotted. "Who?" he asked. Before she could reply, tires screeched from down the block. A black SUV slowed as it approached, windows tinted, engine growling like a threat. The woman's hand shot out and gripped his arm. "Please," she whispered. "Don't let them take me." Every instinct screamed at him to run. He was nobody, an immigrant scraping by, invisible by necessity. This wasn't his fight. But he didn't move. The SUV crept closer, then stopped 20 feet away. For a moment, the night was silent except for the dripping gutters. Then the back window rolled down, and a man's voice cut through the dark. "Get in the car, Emily." The woman Emily shook her head violently. Her nails dug into Miguel's arm. "No. Please." Miguel glanced between her and the SUV. The man inside leaned forward, his face shadowed, but his tone steady, commanding. "You're making this worse. Come with us. Now." Something in that voice felt wrong, too calm, too practiced. Miguel had lived long enough in New York to recognize danger when it wore a suit. He stepped in front of her, his heart pounding. She said no. The man's eyes narrowed. "And who the hell are you?" "Just a stranger," Miguel replied. A pause. Then the man laughed quietly, low and dangerous. "Then walk away, stranger. This doesn't concern you." But it did now. The SUV door opened. Another man stepped out, broad shoulders, heavy jacket, the kind of guy who carried violence like a second skin. He cracked his knuckles as he approached. Miguel's breath caught. He had no weapon, no plan. Just a tired body and a stranger clutching his arm like he was the only lifeline she had left. "Run," he whispered to her. But she didn't move. Her fear rooted her to the pavement. The heavy man reached them first. He shoved Miguel back, hard. "This is your last chance." Walk away. Miguel steadied himself, the taste of blood already in his mouth from biting his tongue. He looked at Emily. She was shaking, silent tears cutting lines through her damp makeup. He thought of his sister back home, the way she looked at him with trust, believing he could protect her from everything. And before he could stop himself, he swung. His fist connected with the man's jaw. The crack echoed under the streetlight. The thug stumbled, surprised more than hurt. Run! Miguel shouted this time, louder. Emily bolted. The street exploded into chaos. Miguel fought like a man who had nothing to lose, which wasn't far from the truth. But the thug was bigger, stronger. One punch sent Miguel crashing to the ground. Boots slammed into his ribs, his stomach. Pain seared through him, but he forced himself up, spitting blood. The SUV revved, moving to follow Emily. Desperation surged inside Miguel like fire. With every ounce of strength, he lunged at the thug again, dragging him down, keeping him tangled, slowing the chase. Go! He roared after Emily, even though she was already disappearing into the dark. The SUV driver cursed and hit the gas, swerving around. But the delay was enough. By the time they regrouped, Emily was gone. Miguel lay broken on the pavement, chest heaving, vision blurring. The SUV door slammed shut. The tinted glass stared back at him like the eye of something monstrous. And then it drove away. When Miguel finally pulled himself to his feet, the street was empty. The rain had started again, soft and relentless. His jacket was torn, his ribs aching with every breath. He staggered home, unsure if he'd just saved a life or signed his own death warrant. Days passed. He went to work, bruised and limping. No one asked. In New York, people saw everything and nothing at once. But on the fourth night, as he left the diner, he saw her again. Emily. She stood under the same crooked streetlight. This time, she wasn't trembling. She wore a clean coat, her hair brushed, her eyes clear. When she saw him, she stepped forward. I looked for you, she said. Every night. Miguel blinked. Why? Because I never said thank you. Her voice cracked. You didn't know me, and you risked everything. He shrugged, though his throat burned with unspoken words. Sometimes, strangers don't stay strangers. She reached into her bag and handed him an envelope. Inside was cash, more than he made in months. I can't take this, he said. You can, she insisted. You saved my life. Those men, they weren't strangers to me. They were mine once. And you, she stopped, searching for the right words. You broke the chain. He didn't know what to say. So he simply nodded. They stood there for a moment, the street light flickering above them, rain pattering softly around their feet. Two people who should never have crossed paths. Two lives colliding in one fragile, dangerous instant. Then, without another word, she walked away into the night. Miguel watched her disappear, knowing he would never see her again. But as he stood under the buzzing streetlight, broken ribs aching, he realized something. For once, in this vast, uncaring city, being a stranger had mattered. And that was enough.